Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing So Clover from Repost Productions. So Clover is a party game for 3 to 6 players, although, frankly speaking, I believe you can play it at 2 as well. But the general idea of the game is you are trying to figure out, well, what is the most likely pairing of words that will result in somebody else figuring out what you've done. And to that end, I'm going to go ahead and play an actual round. So let's go ahead and draw a card over here. Well, I'm going to play around with you. So you can be involved with the show, because you'll get a sense of how it plays, because you're going to go ahead and play along with me. We're going to do this right now. Okay, ready? Ready? We're going to go ahead and do this. Honestly, I probably should have had, like, my daughter come down or something and do this together with me, because that would have been a little better. But let's go ahead and do this right now. We're going to play a little round of So Clover for you while you watch. I'm sliding these into this board over here. Now, I'm going to show you more about how this works soon, but first, I got to go ahead and do this. Now, I'm going to do this a little faster than normal, so it is what it is. Okay, I could do that. That's good. I'm going to go with that word for that. Now, I'm not going to overthink this, but we are going to go with this. Let's see. I don't know if I have a good word for that. Okay, we're going to go like that. Okay. I'm going to go with that. I'm not sure if it's good, but we're going to go ahead and do that over there. We're going to do that, and I don't know if I... this fell, but I know it was. We got that over there. And those two words together, this is all going to make sense in a second, or you can just skip ahead a second if you want to get to the direct how to play part. Basically, I have these cards, I'm trying to combine words to try to pair them up. But that will all make sense in a second, because if I put those two words together, I have that and that. I don't have a great combination. We're just going to go, okay, that's going to work. Okay, I guess. And then we have that and that and I guess I'm gonna choose this, but honestly, this might not be legal. Okay. Also, don't judge my handwriting at all. I'm trying to do this on camera. Okay, we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna go ahead and call that, and now I'm gonna go ahead and take these cards off. So now I've just gone ahead and done this. This is basically how it works. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and show you that in a second. But first, we're gonna take one more card randomly and shuffle it in. Now, here's the basic idea, and I'll talk you through this. Okay, I'm gonna talk you through it. I am going to play 2 sides over here because that's just how it works in terms of trying to show you this game, but it will hopefully all make sense. Now, the basic idea is everyone at the table got a little one of these little thingies over here. Everyone got one of these, but then also everyone went ahead and they got 4 cards randomly placed in ways that they have to try to connect those words. So, for example, if I had not and nest, the question is, how would I connect not and nest if I was trying to, like, get you to figure out what not and nest were? Now, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just putting them here randomly, but I don't know. Not and nest could be string. You tie a string, like a string in a knot, and then you use strings as part of nest, so it could be that. But every player got one of these. Every player got 4 cards. Every player came up with their own clues, and then one at a time as a group, the table tries to solve one player at a time, with the understanding, obviously, that you don't try to solve your own. And then the goal is to get as much right as possible. That's the basic idea of the game. So let's go ahead and show you this together. Let's go through this simulated round. We have off-key. We have, and again, off-key might have been cheating, but we have off-key. We have fog. We have frostbite, and we have protect. Okay, now all of those are probably fine, except for off-key might be considered 2 words. My general rule for games like this is try to have as much fun as possible, unless the other players at the table are upset at you, in which case you're doing something wrong. And let's go through the cards. Now we have 4 cards that were in there, but the orientation is the question. We also have a 5th card that was randomly shuffled in there that you don't know what's coming at all. So let's show you those. We have butcher, smoke, needle, and knot. Okay, now I'm going to first go through all the cards so you can see everything first, and then from there, if you want to go ahead and pause and guess yourself, you can, but I will talk you through it to a certain extent. We have poetry, bubble, nest, and sweet over here. We have farm, helmet, couch, and strength. We have brother, turnip, grate, and envelope, I guess. We have armor, Antarctica, curtain, and charge. Okay, those are the 20 words you have on the table. Now you have to figure out how they all connect, and to that extent, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause the screen in 1 second. So you can go ahead and take a look. So we're going to pause, go ahead and look, pause the screen, and now we're going to go ahead and come back to it. So right now we're going to go through the process of me pretending that I'm not me, which I do on a regular basis, actually. I just don't usually tell people that. Anyway, so we have over here. Let's go and take a look over here. We have frostbite. I'm going to start with frostbite. I like to start with the words that are a little bit more direct, because frostbite, what works with frostbite? Bubble, no. Nest, no. Sweet, no. Poetry, no. We have farm, couch, strength, maybe strength, helmet. You want a helmet. Strength and helmet are possibilities. We have armor. We have Antarctica. Now, Antarctica seems reasonable. Let's take a look at everything else. We have brother, great, envelop, turnip, needle, smoke, butcher, and knot. None of those seem to work with it. So we have Antarctica first over here. So I do want to go with Antarctica, but the first question is, was this card here? We have Antarctica for frostbite and armor for protect, which honestly seems pretty reasonable. Or do you have charge and, fog, which is possible, but I don't think so as much. Instinctively, I'm going to put this Antarctica and armor. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put that there. So now that we have those words, and I don't see another clear word for frostbite, again, knowing full well that I actually know the words. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to rotate this and see what else we can get as far as another word for protect. So we have strength over here. Strength could be protect, helmet and strength. Strength and off key. I don't think that works that well. But we have poetry, bubble, protect, like you're in a bubble. Poetry off key, that could be. We have bubble and part to protect, and we have poetry and off key. It could work, but let's take a look what else could be off key. We have couch, protect. We have strength for protect, but again, that would require couch to go with off key, which I don't think makes sense. We have helmet and strength, which doesn't make sense. We have smoke, protect from smoke, and needle. If something's off key, it can needle you. That's possible. So we could have smoke and needle. So we're gonna come back to that. We also have brother, turnip, great, and envelop. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this right now. We'll go ahead and lock in. We'll temporarily lock in those two. And we have poetry for off key. Now we have butcher for off key, knot, needle. So again, needle could be, but then you have knot and fog. We have smoke. Smoke works for fog, so we have butcher and off key. That doesn't make sense. We have needle and off key. Maybe it's not smoke. Let's come back to that in a second. What do we have? We have farm, couch, strength, and helmet. I don't think any of those make sense for off key. We have brother, turnip, envelop, and grate. Grate. If something's off key, it will grate on you. Okay, so now we have envelop over here, and we have envelop over here, and then we go ahead and figure out what goes else there. We have butcher, knot, needle, and smoke. Smoke does work, but I'm not sure about needle for frostbite. Although maybe frostbite stings, it's sharp. It's like a needle. Yeah, I guess that works. I'm gonna go ahead and submit that, and I'm right. I knew my logic the entire time. Usually this process is what you'll go through, but you'll do so without knowing that you're actually right. Now, if I were wrong, let's say I went ahead and for for helmet, I had gone for protect, and let's say instead of poetry and bubble, I had gone with helmet and strength, because strength off key, maybe that's what I want to go with over there. If I did, then at that point, the player who's actually submitted these, they take out the one card that's actually wrong. Well, they take out however many cards are wrong, and you just say, okay, great, you have one more chance to get it right. So everything that's locked in and correct, you leave in. Everything that's wrong, even if it's just rotated the wrong way, that comes out, and then you have one more chance, and you're like, oh, look at that, bubble and poetry, we've got it on the second chance. Nowhere near as satisfying, but it is legal. And that's basically how you play So Clover. You get a few cards, you get a little thing, you put it together, you try to come up with the words that combine, you try to think through what patterns work out, and then you go ahead and submit it to the other players to go ahead and vote and see what they can do with that. And that is basically how you play So Clover. Anyways, with that, let's go ahead and move to the review, starting off with ease of play. Ease of play is, honestly, I find teaching this game to be fun. You pull it out, you show people what to do, and then they start figuring it out. Now, there are levels of strategy, which we'll get to as we talk about the review, but for the most part, it's a very easy game to get people up and running, to table, to teach, to play, all those things. Ease of play is off the charts. You can play it as many times as you want. To me, a round is basically everyone submitting a clue, and then everyone submitting their own Clover, and then having all the other players at the table take a guess. That's what a round is, and you play as many rounds as you're interested in doing, which sometimes if you have a large enough group, like a full round of 7 people, and again it says 6, which I guess, so you technically limit it to 6. Nah, you limit it to 6, I guess, because you could submit 6 and have one. You need 6 people. You could have multiple sets, obviously, but a full 6-person game can run you like 30 minutes for a single round if you're taking your time with it. But again, play as long as you want, stop whenever you want, which I guess brings us to the review, starting off with what I like, don't like, and can see others not liking. Starting off with what I like, which is the many approaches to the strategy of it, because at first it seems like it's just about connecting 2 words, and it is, but you have to be mindful of different things as you play. You have to be mindful of the inner words that are present on your cards that aren't actually being chosen. So, for example, that helmet over there, I should have been mindful that when I picked protect for smoke and for armor and bubble, which I was pretty happy with that clue, helmet would have been a candidate. And that's not necessarily the end of the rule, but you do need to think about, well, if helmet's a candidate, what about the other words? Will those potentially throw people off? Because not all the time are words obvious. Sometimes you have more obvious things that connect to stuff. Other times you have to rely on the fact that as players lock in certain guesses, as the most obvious choice comes up, like, you know, those two corners, they line up perfectly, they're like, that card is locked in, well, then the other cards can start to fit into place. You don't need as much accuracy once you have those first cards. So you really are trying to think through not just what connects two words, but what leeway do you have? Where can you potentially be mindful of what the most likely choice is, even if it's not likely? Where do you hope things will just naturally fall into place? What other words will trip you up? There's a lot of things to actually think about as you go through it, and so it gives you that strategy, but it also gives you the fun, the joy, the satisfaction, the laughter of a party game. This is a game that consistently has people just cracking up at whatever the thing was that was picked, of how those things went together. It has people who are laughing, who are cracking up, who are just trying to figure out what was going through your head as you combine those things. Or I remember the last time I played, we had snakes, and Medusa was on the card. Medusa was on a card, so we're like, of course Medusa goes with snakes, and it threw everyone off. But that resulted in a bit of a laughter and a party, and everyone just having fun. We're like, oh, I missed Medusa. I was thinking like literal snakes, not whatever. You do have that going on. So you have a good strategy game, a good party game, a lot of word combinations. One of the nice things about this game is, in contrast with games like Codenames, Codenames always has you seeking out the largest possible clue you can get your hands on, or at least that's me. That's how I play Codenames. But in this game, you are limited to connecting two things. It's only two things. You do not have flexibility, so you don't have 7 cards you can choose how to connect things. You have specifically connect these two, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes trying to figure out how to connect 2 random words from a giant stack of words. By the way, another nice thing about this game, it does not skimp on the sheer amount of cards and words it gives you. There's a lot of stuff to go through as you go through this, but overall, just a solid mix of strategy and fun in a nice party game that plays well from 2 to 6 players. I genuinely don't know why it says 3. I probably should read through the rules and see if there's a reason why specifically 3, but it works fine for me too. You each fill it out, you each pass to each other, you each work on each other's puzzle. It works fine for me at 2 as well. It's better with more, for the record. As far as what I don't like in the game, there's really 2 things I'd say. First of all is the random card that inserted to the game. Sometimes it's just unfair. Usually it's not a problem. Usually it just obfuscates things. Sometimes you'll get a thing where you're like, that was a perfect match, and like, what am I supposed to do about that? I played the best game I could, but ultimately a better match came out, and I can't predict around that. So I do like how it obfuscates things. I don't like how, if you're just unlucky, something will show up that just gets in your face in a way that's just not good at all. So that's a small little complaint. Not a big complaint though, because very infrequently is it actually a problem. I would say more often what tends to be a problem is the fact that, well, not more often, what's more of a regular ongoing complaint is this game doesn't have a regular good win condition, at least for me. Ultimately, to me, I like the game the best when you solve every puzzle at once, and then you sometimes try, and like you just play. You just go through the method of playing. Now, you don't need a win condition in everything you do. Whether it's a video game, a board game, a book, a movie, you don't always need to have a win condition, and this game does work without having a official win condition. I just try as hard as I can and have fun. But ultimately, it only feels like I really won. Like for me, my ideal goal is we keep playing So Clover till the end of the night until we have a perfect round where we are everyone on the first guess. That's not always sustainable because, again, at higher player counts, it can actually be like 20, 30 minutes per round. But that's the way I would play So Clover. So I don't like the lack of a clearly defined win condition, but everything else about the game I do enjoy. As far as what I can see others not liking, a few small things. First of all, you are committed to those word combos, like I mentioned already, contrasted with other party games. You have a bit more agency or flexibility. You are really locked in to connect these 2 words. And that can sometimes be incredibly frustrating if you can't find that connecting pattern, and if you're not using the strategy of the rest of the board to know where you have leeway, where you have a degree of laxness to be able to rely on, well, everything else works, so I guess this is just what we're going to go with. And yeah, that's right. Turns out you could connect, game with the word, I don't know, kennel. I don't know. I just put 2 words together. But those 2 do connect if you have nothing else to go off. You have to know that strategy aspect. And then also it is cooperative solving, which means it can be a little victim to alpha player mentality. You could have a player who jumps in and is like, oh, these words, these words, these words. I do find sometimes you'll have that one player who's aggressively trying to solve everything as fast and efficiently as possible in a way that might be a little frustrating for the other players at the table who kind of want to be able to get in there. Now, more often than not, the first guess or so might be alpha player, but after that it really does require more discussion and table talk, but it still might be frustrating to have a player who's always jumping first to be able to find those first patterns because they feel special, and I do feel special when I find them, but you have to give other players room to breathe, so be mindful it can be victim to that aspect. As far as final thoughts on So Clover, I really like this game. I really like this. This is actually part of me starting to go through all the games in my top 100 games of all time to slowly put out reviews on any game that I haven't put out a dedicated review on that's in my top 100 games. Now, whenever that happens, it will be pretty clear that I like the game, but I usually will try not to get to that until the final thoughts, just in case. But effectively, this is a game in my top 100 games of all time. This is a 4.5 out of 5 for me. This fits perfectly in that combination of party games that I really enjoy. Codenames, Decrypto, Just One, and So Clover. The trifecta of those 4 party games gives me such a good combination of strategy and just fun and laughter and a good time that I really enjoy. Monikers, by the way, is also a fantastic party game, but I will say that Monikers is more party and a little less strategy like these other 4. These other 4 feel like they have a little more like thinking through. Either way, I like them all. But anyways, that's basically it. It's a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoy it. Highly recommend it. Plays well at a variety of player counts, including at 2 players, even though the box doesn't say so. I just wish there was a more clearly defined win condition. As far as other game recommendations, I just mentioned them all. So Clover, well, that's this one. Just One, Codenames, Decrypto. So Clover, that's the one. And then Monikers, I guess, just if you want my last party game that I really enjoy. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.